Today we're here with Josh and Demi to discuss treatment versus punishment. The umbrella question of this debate is, as members of society, do we have a responsibility to take care of our people with criminal tendencies by offering them treatment, or is it easier to divide one another into messed up ones and the good ones? This is a really broad question, a lot of gray areas. I want to know how you guys stand, where you guys stand on this topic.
I think the matter is deeper rooted than just certain criminals. I think it's the seriousness of the crime.
What would be a crime that you would think would definitely deserve just punishment, or a crime that has more gray areas, you think? I think there should be more treatment, like punishment. Going to jail isn't necessarily going to help that person.
Stealing.
Mm-hmm.
Something like shoplifting isn't something that somebody is psychologically messed up in the head for doing. They just, in a moment, had the adrenaline rush to steal something. But I think when it comes to stealing mass amounts of money from businesses or things like that, they kind of are truly a criminal at heart right now.
Do you think that fine helps that, let's say, a kid in high school who got in trouble shoplifting, do you think that fine helps them realize what they did was wrong?
Right, yeah, I think it does. And if their parents are just like, oh, whatever, and pay for their ticket, then, what are they going to learn from it?
I think that fine, while discourages shoplifting, doesn't necessarily prevent someone from shoplifting. I mean, a lot of these small petty crimes, the reason that somebody might do it is similar to the reason somebody might ride a roller coaster, is the brief flirting with the danger.
Do you think that the threat of, Demi, you can answer this, do you think the threat of prison is all we can do really to avoid serious crimes?
There are people that still commit homicides, and there are still serial killers out there, and they know that if they were to be caught, prison is the ultimate sentence for them, whether it's life or whether they're put to death because of the seriousness of their crime. And I don't think that it's obviously not enough, because people are still committing crimes.
How should we effectively deal with people like that then? Obviously prison isn't enough.
Psychological killers? I honestly don't think that late in life therapy would do any good.
Yeah.
Right, and there's definitely statistical proof that people that are put in jail for serious crimes, like child molesters or something like that, they go to jail and then good behavior gets them out in, say they were sentenced to 20 years, and good behavior they're let out in 15. They just go a week later and commit the same crime. It's like therapy won't help them.
And it teaches them to be more careful about doing these crimes.
About more careful, so they try harder not to get caught?
Exactly. And I think at that point, they are a burden to society.
Therefore, punishment overrules treatment.
What about a mental hospital versus a prison?
Why are we spending our time and our money and our energy on somebody who is not going to get better? Somebody who kills compulsively, who cannot be convinced otherwise. Why would we waste our resources to make sure that this person is no longer a harm to society? Why not eliminate this harm to society completely?
People would gladly admit themselves to mental hospitals and seek therapeutic help. But nobody does that because it's socially unacceptable in our society. So that's why there's criminals, hiding away. I think a good mediation would be criminals could be put, punished as they are, punished for their crimes, stealing, murder, any crime, And a good mediation would be force them to see a therapist. So, but I think if you give them the opportunity to be made better by providing them with treatment, while punishing them at the same time, maybe a mental hospital that is a criminal mental hospital, we have those, they need to be not put in jail along with people that will hurt them.
All right, let me give you guys a scenario. We have John Doe. He's an abusive husband. He recognizes that behavior is illegal and harmful to his wife, and he wishes to seek treatment, but he doesn't want to face the consequences of his crimes. How should we handle people like John who are afraid to go to jail and will probably continue being violent without treatment?
I think that if John Doe were to be, John Doe's wife were to step up and call the police, that his crime would be logically punished by maybe prison is kind of a harsh sentence for somebody who's abusive, because I think that's something that could be treated.
Yeah.
And I think that by forcing John Doe to seek treatment and coming to terms with the fact that he is an abusive person and has an abusive personality and maybe needs anger management, that would be something that would be necessary to cure John Doe.
I think it's a lot harder to determine whether somebody is fit to enter society than we think. If he feels so bad about this, he should be seeing a psychiatrist about this, a therapist, trying to figure out how he can manage his anger more effectively.
Do we offer an environment that's open to like these kind of conditions?
No. No.
I'm not necessarily talking about people who have committed crimes, but
Right, but people who feel these feelings and
yeah,
want
who
to
have no regard for others' lives and whatnot.
and want to who recognize that that's a problem and want to make themselves better. No, we don't as a society accept that, and I mean, we certainly don't tolerate people like that. And I think we need to spread awareness that these issues are psychological issues, and in a lot of cases are very hard to resist.
Demi, do you
And I believe that the criminals that have these feelings should be ostracized. They have, the psychological issues and that aren't socially accepted in our society for a reason. And so I think that these people should feel uncomfortable with coming out with these feelings, because it is an illegal action, and even if they're not acting upon it, they should be ashamed of the fact that it is something that is in their head that they want to be doing.
Well, that is causing a great personal conflict. There's a difference between recognizing that something is unacceptable in practice and believing that the way that you're feeling is wrong.
Is there anything that we can offer to people a lot of people out there who have been in and out of jail for similar reasons? Obviously, prison isn't working.
You need to increase their prison sentence, not to reform them, but to keep them out of society. At this point, they're becoming a burden on society, and we have no moral obligation to hold on to them.
Any closing statements from Josh and Demi? Demi can go first.
I'd say that I very loosely lean more towards the punishment side of this debate, because I think that while it depends on the crime, there are some crimes that are just, it's a hopeless matter to try and save the criminal. So I would lean more towards punishment as the ultimatum.
Okay, Josh.
I think that you need to handle everything on a case-by-case basis, but I think on the whole, there are a lot of crimes that are rooted in, that sort of evolve from a person's psyche in the environment that he or she is raised in, and we need to diagnose the actual condition rather than the symptoms. So I think a lot of these crimes need to be. I think we need to offer more treatment and more acceptance to people who are thinking about committing crimes before they are committed.
Great. Thank you very much for being here.
It was a pleasure.
It
Thank you for having
was
us.
truly a pleasure.